your dreams and your destiny. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. Matthew 13 verse 25. We can see from the above verse that the visit paid to man while he slept was far from being a friendly one. It was a visit paid to plant something in his life, and the enemy had chosen a particular time to do this, while men slept. This means that some of the greatest dangers that we face as human beings happen during sleep. Why dost thou strive against him? For he giveth not account of any of his matters, for God speaketh once, yea twice, yet man perceiveth it not, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumberings upon the bed. Then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man. He keepeth back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword. Job 33 verse 13-18. What the above passage is telling us is that God talks to us many times, but we do not perceive what he is saying, technically because our lives are too noisy, and this does not allow us to hear him when we should. He now goes into our dream to talk to us so that, if there is any bad thing we desire to do, he may restrain us from going ahead. What is your destiny? Two words stand out in the above passage, destiny and dream. What is your destiny? Your destiny is the reason why you were born. Your destiny is the purpose of God for your life. Destiny can also be defined as what God has written in his book concerning your life. Jesus said, "The Son of Man goeth as is written of him," meaning that your destiny is when you go as it is written of you, which means, also, that it is possible to go as it is not written. Your destiny is what God had in mind before he created you and asked you to come into this world. It is God's preordained plan for your life, one way or the other. Your destiny is already programmed by the Almighty, but then, it can be diverted, destroyed, perverted, smashed to pieces or fragmented. That is part of the reasons you must read this with absolute concentration. The second part of the passage quoted above talks about dreams. While men slept his enemy came and sowed tares. I pray that every implantation by the enemy shall be uprooted from your life, in the name of Jesus. Most sleeping takes place at night, and the most dangerous period of the night is between 12 midnight and 3 a.m. Fortunately and unfortunately, however, that is the hour that most people sleep deeply. Why the operation at night? The enemy chooses the night because the night is characterized by darkness. The night is also characterized by intense spiritual activities. Workers in the dark kingdom are desperate at that hour to fill their quota. The midnight is the time when most human beings are least alert. The night, therefore, is a very favorable period for the plans of the wicked. The Lord knows this and the enemy knows this as well. Salient points. I wish to make some statements about dreams so that we can know for sure where we are going and know how to pray. Your dreams can determine your destiny. God, in his own infinite mercies, designed for man to have dreams. Therefore, if you look at your Bible, you will find dreams mentioned 121 times. By the time a person is 60 years old, he would have spent 20 years sleeping. Since 1/3 of our lifetime is spent sleeping, it means that a large percentage of our life is spent dreaming, as dreaming occurs during sleep. Dreams are important in human life. Dreams are visions during sleep. Dreams are revelations of some little portions of the activities of the spirit world. Dreams are scenes of occurrences in the spirit realm. The images we see in the dream are transactions that go on during sleep. Your dream puts you in touch with some internal security system, with your internal wisdom. Your dream will open your spiritual life to you, and these dreams do not lie. Dreams are the windows to your unconscious feelings and to your unconscious thoughts. Many of us do not know what is happening in our lives because we do not understand our dreams. Dreams should reveal our deepest aims and objectives. It is a spiritual monitoring system which helps you to deal with your physical life. Your dreams should reveal to you your fears and your hopes. It should reveal your past and your future to you. Your dream can heal you, change you and influence your life. Your dream can enlighten you and can warn you or inform you. Because of all these, dreams are important and should not be ignored. Any dream you have consistently should be taken serious. These dreams are the invisible tools that bring messages to you. It is your spiritual monitoring system, by which you can know what is happening to your life in the spiritual world. A brother found it difficult to pass his examinations, so he started praying. Any time he dreamt, he would always see this goat tied to a tree. He never understood this. He got born again, went to Bible school for 10 years where they preached holiness, faith and what have you, yet, he kept seeing this goat tied to a tree, and as much as the goat struggled to get free, the rope held it back. Yet, this brother did not understand until one day when he came to a prayer meeting where somebody preached this kind of message. He then understood that the goat he was seeing was him, and the rope that tied it to the tree was the enemy's boundary for his life. He could not go beyond that rope nor move far. He had been caged. Then the brother started praying hard. All of a sudden, his uncle visited from the village and asked to talk to the brother. The uncle asked him whether he recently went to see a herbalist. The brother said no. The uncle could not believe this, so he asked further, "Has anyone recently told you anything about your life?" The brother, again, said no. Then the uncle asked, "Then, what happened to the goat?" The brother asked what his uncle meant by the goat, but the man brushed the matter aside. Nevertheless, the brother would not let the matter pass just like that. Putting holiness aside for a while, the brother held on to his uncle's shirt, and, shaking him violently, asked him to expatiate on the goat which he just mentioned. It happened that the day the brother was born, this uncle of his was at home. Through his demonic power he could see into the future of that brother. He therefore programmed his life into a goat and put the goat in the backyard. Whenever a goat died, he tied another one down and reprogrammed it. All of a sudden, however, the goat made a strange cry and died where it was tied. It was then this brother began to move ahead. All along, his dream had been telling him that his destiny was in bondage, but he did not understand. Then, he remembered the word of the prophet, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." Your dreams is where you work out your pains, griefs, and hostilities. When something is being hostile to you, you can see. The land of slumber, therefore, is as important as life itself. Scriptural accounts. There are, at least, 28 accounts in the Bible, in the Old Testament, about dreams. The first example in the Bible is Genesis 20. In Genesis 28, Jacob saw the ladder. Then there was the dream of Joseph. The destiny of Joseph was made clear to him in his dream, but the only problem was that the boy refused to keep quiet. He kept talking. Pharaoh also dreamt about famine in Egypt, but he could not interpret it. Solomon, too, dreamt, and God asked him to choose what he wanted. He chose wisdom. Those wise men that came to Jesus saw certain things in their dream. Paul, on his missionary journey, saw a man beckoning at him, inviting him to come to Macedonia to help them. Pilate's wife had a dream that tormented her. She went to tell the husband not to touch Jesus Christ. 99% of the revelation knowledge that we need in order to overcome our problems can be revealed to us in the dream, and it is said that to be informed is to be transformed. Dreams can come from God, it can come from man, it can also come from the enemy. When the dream is from God, the dreamer is left normal, calm, quiet, reasonable, with open and clear mind after that dream. Also, if it is the Almighty talking to you in the dream, He will give you assurance, encouragement, comfort, directions, instruction, guidance, exhortation, correction, revelation of the future, revelation of His plans and purposes to you. If it is from your enemy or Satan, the dream will be mysterious, absurd, sometimes empty, sometimes foolish, and sometimes leaving the person confused and dazed. The dream would be so unreasonable, most time it would not make any sense. Sometimes it is so mysterious that you wonder what kind of dream it is. It is like that sister who had a dream that she was sitting on a mat while another woman sat on another. Both of them were flying. She was asking the woman in the front section of the mat, "Why am I on this mat and where am I going?" The woman said, "When you get there, you will know." The sister reiterated again, "But it's not good for one to be flying on a mat." The woman did not answer her anymore, so the sister began to pray. At one point, it was as if a rope cut in that mat, and the sister landed on the ground. Then she woke up with pains in her back. What was going to happen to her? They were taking her to a witchcraft meeting to initiate her unconsciously. When your dream is an attack from the enemy, it can represent satanic strategy to cause calamity and destruction. When you have dream attacks from the enemy, it is for 7 reasons, namely, to steal, kill and to destroy, to terrify, to inflict terrible sicknesses. A lot of people wake from an attack in the dream and the sickness takes root immediately. To contact a covenant from the devil, to deceive men. The Bible says, "Marvel not because Satan himself can present himself as an angel of light, to cause man to take the wrong decision, to terminate destinies." Beloved, it is a serious matter when God is showing you the pictures of your life and you do not know what to do. Fortunately, there is a way out because in the spiritual world, you find fast forward and rewind functions. This is not like a physical house. For instance, as you sit down in a place, you cannot decide to be 10 years younger. This is not possible. But in the spirit world, you can do a rewind to when you were 10 years old. Likewise, you can do a fast forward to see what will happen in 10 years' time. A sister was praying to marry. She was already 39 years old, yet no man had ever proposed to her, so she continued praying. Then God took her back to when she was 15 years old. At a particular birthday party, she was serving the guests the birthday cake. When she got to a man, the man took the first, second and third pieces of cake. This made the sister protest, but instead of the man dropping the excess pieces of cake, he drew the girl close and told her, "You're my wife. If you don't marry me, you won't marry anybody." That incident happened when she was 15 years old, but she did not know the importance of it until she started praying at the age of 39 when the Lord took her back 24 years. Danger of not dreaming. If you do not dream at all, or you feel you do not dream at all, there is double danger. If God wants to talk to you, you will not hear. The enemy's presence and activities in your life will be hidden. Of course, it is that which you know that you would want to pray against. But as long as you do not know, you are in trouble. It is most dangerous in the day of danger and trouble for you not to have information at all. The enemy has blinded the spirit man and soul of so many people that when they wake up they forget everything they dreamt of. In fact, scientists agree that everybody dreams. The only problem is that you may have the inability to recall your dreams. Paul was on the sea, and it seemed as if all hopes were lost, but he had a dream. In the dream, an angel of the Lord stood by him, telling him not to fear as nobody would die inside that ship. Immediately Paul had that dream, he rose up and asked people to eat and drink as no one on the ship would die. If you do not have signs like this as a Christian, you become a weaponless warrior. The enemy has tampered with your spiritual monitoring system. If you suffer from the inability to recall dreams, it is a serious problem that you must pray over. Very likely, a particular power is afraid of you and does not want you to have certain information because you will act like fire and thunder, and because they do not want you to act, the best thing, they feel, is to make you forget. This is a very serious matter. If many of us could know what is going on in our dream lives, we will understand what is going on in our physical lives. Dreams to ignore. Nevertheless, there are some dreams that you can ignore. For example, any dream you had in a night you were very agitated should be forgotten. Any dream that you have when you have malaria should likewise not be taken seriously. Any dream you have when you have overfed yourself also qualifies for neglect. When you dream while you sleep in an occultic house, simply forget that dream. Any dream you have after a family quarrel cannot be taken seriously. Any dream out of the multitude of businesses should be forgotten. There is also something called dream within a dream. This happens when people have 3 or 4 dreams at a time that everything looks jumbled up, that they cannot make out the details of each one. Evil and bad dreams. If you dream and you find yourself drinking dirty water, it means the enemy wants to poison your spiritual life and reduce your fire. If you dream and see yourself drowning and crying for help, the enemy is planning tribulations for you. If you dream that something keeps obstructing you as you seek to cross from one place to another, the enemy is trying to hinder your progress. If you are always eating meat, the bottom line is that you have become a witch participating in witchcraft feeding. When you find yourself always eating, and your mouth is even forced open to take food in the dream, it means the enemy wants to weaken your spiritual power and plant sickness into your life. Some years back, we prayed for a sister who dreamt that she was breastfeeding a strange baby who held her breast with its teeth. She tried to push the baby away, but the baby held tight to the breast. She then hit the baby on the head. As the baby dropped to the floor, the sister woke up with pains. Before that week ran out, 5 lumps developed on that breast. Unfortunately, within 1 week, the sister died. This was due largely to the fact that despite getting spiritual assistance from some men of God, the sister still went about seeking solution in dark places. If you find yourself climbing a mountain with difficulty, it means the enemy is making you toil before you can survive. If you find yourself in a traffic holdup, the enemy is introducing sluggishness into your life, to hinder you from reaching your goals in life. If you find yourself nursing a strange baby, or milking a strange baby, the enemy is drinking the milk of your life. If you find yourself falling into a pit and are unable to come out, the enemy has imprisoned you. If you find the wind and whirlwind fighting against you, God is trying to tell you that there are troubles ahead to retard your progress. If you find that your cap was blown away by the wind, it means disgrace is on its way for you. If you lose something very important like your shoes or sandals, marital disturbance is coming. You had better start praying. If you find your documents stolen in the dream, the enemy is trying to make those documents useless. If you find that your clothes were stolen in the dream, this is an attack on your honor and glory. If you see yourself, in the dream, carrying a heavy load, the enemy is trying to introduce paralyzing problems into your life, the kind of things that will make the person unable to move. If you find yourself always sitting for examinations without finishing them, this is the spirit of frustration and failure. If you find yourself in darkness in the dream, this represents spiritual blindness. If, in the dream, you find yourself being beaten by rain and you are running from it, it means the enemy is trying to prepare trouble for you. When you dream and see fire destroying things, the enemy is trying to introduce calamity and woe into your life. You have to stop this. If you find that you are traveling and the road is becoming longer and longer and longer, and you never really finished that journey until you wake up, the enemy is only trying to introduce frustration into your life. If you find yourself being shot, either with arrow or gun, the enemy is trying to introduce afflictions of a terrible kind into your life. If you dream of wearing a rag, nobody needs to tell you that this is the spirit of poverty and lack. If you find yourself in an environment with feces and dirty things around you, the enemy is trying to make you to miss heaven. If you find yourself naked in the dream, this is the coming of disgrace and insecurity. If you find your wedding ring and wedding gown stolen or torn or something bad happens to them, this is an attack on your marriage. This is one reason why, at the Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries, we do not wed people with ring but the Bible, because the wedding ring is a covenant material, and if the enemy can lay his hand on it, this can be used to easily destabilize your home. If you find your keys stolen, this means your enemy is trying to steal your spiritual authority from you. If you find your house being burgled and your things being stolen, the enemy is trying to introduce spiritual emptiness into your life. If you dream that a child is missing, you have to pray hard for that child not to die. If you dream and find a woman shaving your hair, you need to pray for the enemy not to kill your husband. If you keep dreaming of masquerades, that is witchcraft and ancestral spirits pursuing you. If you find that you are being attacked by dogs, these are sexual demons. When you are attacked by cats and serpents in the dream, these are witchcraft attacks from the bottom of the pit. If the serpent is biting you in the dream, it is not a thing to take lightly. If you see serpents in your dream and you fail to kill it, you should know for sure that the serpent is coming back to fight another day. If you see yourself being pursued or bitten by serpents, the enemy is poisoning your life. Seeing crocodile in the dream is bad because it is the spirit of the Leviathan, the spirit that can disturb you emotionally, mentally and physically. If you find yourself being flogged in the dream, this is an attempt to destroy your reputation. If you find yourself losing money in the dream, this is an attack on your finance. If you find somebody issuing curses on you in the dream, it means that forces of affliction and oppression are pursuing your life. If you find yourself bleeding through the nose or any other part of the body, this is witchcraft attack against your health. When you find yourself in the marketplace where sometimes you buy things and other times you don't, the enemy is trying to enslave you, and if you are not careful, they can give you mental disturbance. If you find yourself having sex in the dream, this is a sign that you have a spirit spouse. If you find yourself going back to your childhood days, it means the enemy wants to introduce retardation and backwardness into your life. If you find yourself dying in the dream or seeing a coffin, this could mean death in various ways: financial, marital, spiritual. It may not necessarily mean that the person will die physically. These other things may die. Animals in the dream represent difficulties and problems, so if you see yourself being pursued in the dream by animals, it means problems are being introduced into the life of the person. It is even worse when these animals do attack. For instance, when you see bats and owls in your dream, it means hypocrites are working against you and the spirit and forces of the night are also pursuing you. If you see yourself drinking alcohol in the dream, this represents confusion. If you see yourself with brooms, it means you are going to have friends who are not united. Seeing corpses in the dream are the forces of death coming into the person's life. If you see cobwebs in your dreams, this is the spirit of rejection and disfavor. If you find yourself wearing wigs in the dream, this is an evidence of fake glory. If you find yourself handcuffed in the dream, it means the enemy is putting his curse on your labor. If you find yourself with crabs, it means the enemy wants to introduce reverse into your life. When you find yourself roaming in the jungle, the enemy wants to make you sweat and gather nothing. If you keep seeing padlocks, it means that certain areas of your life have been locked up. If you dream and see chains, this means a very serious trap is being set for you. If you keep finding yourself always exhausted, it means the enemy is introducing fruitless struggles into your life. If you find yourself vomiting in the dream, it means the enemy is trying to make you lose your virtue. If you find yourself always crying in the dream, it means that the enemy is planning serious sorrow for your life. If you find yourself with rotten fruits or eggs in the dream, it means the enemy is introducing failure into your life. Some people would notice that whenever they are about to